All right. Let's, oops. Oh, that's how you pin. Oh, cool. I love hitting new buttons. Okay. Okay. All right. That's cool. All right. Now let me share the link. Copy link. Here we go. Today. All right. Missy! Good afternoon, Missy. Hello, Sarah. I know, right? It's Monday already. Like, why? And then this morning, like, my poor kids. I'm trying to get them ready for school because every morning, it had, like, since winter break, mornings have been absolutely wretched chaos. And it's like my kids forget every morning that we have to get up and get ready for school every morning. It's like they forget. So this morning, Piper's like, I just don't want to. I'm just too tired and I don't want to. And I usually try to allow my kids to have mental health days and stuff like that. And she was like, I'm just too tired. And I said, you're at your limit for lates and tardies and missed school right now. You're at your limit. I can't let you stay home just because you're tired anymore. We got 24 days left of school, 24. And I even brought out that calendar and I counted them. I said 24. That's under a month. We're right near the end. And my daughter was super like excited about being near the end, and my son was super bummed about being near the end, and he's already like, but when does school start again? So yay. Good morning, Judith. Hello, Dale. Brizzo. Yes, you. Hello, Alex. How long are summer holidays? They usually start school the last Thursday of August. Does that make sense? Doesn't that make sense? Outside of the US, that probably, I don't know, because I don't know how your holidays start for fall. I mean, I know some of them, but not all of them. But here in the US, the first Monday of September is Labor Day. So the kids go to school on the last Thursday of August, and then Friday is usually a half day. Sometimes I think 2 years ago it was a half day, but then last year I think it was a full day. And then they go right into a 3-day weekend because they have that Monday off for Labor Day. Doesn't that make so much sense? They don't have their first full week of school until like halfway through September. Like the last week of September is like their first full week of school. They only get 6 weeks over summer holidays here, so start of July to mid-August. Yeah, we get, I think, 8 weeks. Because it's about mid-June. And then they go back to school the last Thursday of August. It's ridiculous. I have a new novel idea, but I'm putting on blinders. I have a new one too, and my problem is I'm not writing it fast enough, so I'm already talking myself back out of it. And good morning, Seisha. Why? How come as soon as I pet you because you're being cute, you just shove your butt up? Talking yourself out of revising. My puppy baby loves butt rubs. So does this one. But like, it's like, she'll be sitting, she'll be quiet, she'll be cute, and I'll be like, okay, I'll pet you now. And then just, boom, butt up. It's necessary, a necessary evil. Why can't books write and edit themselves? See? Exactly. Hi. And you got the colored page book finally? I didn't notice, but yay! Hello, Rippin'. It's okay. It's okay. You can fall asleep. You don't have to move anymore. You can just sleep. She broke so many coffee mugs this weekend. She broke like four or five. So much broken ceramic. It was because I got these dry, crunchy cat treats. And it's like this big box, right? So I had them up in the pantry. No, first I had them up on top of the fridge. And then I heard and treats everywhere. So I was like, come on. So I pick everything up and I go, okay, well, the top of the fridge was a dumb place to put it. So then I put it in the pantry. Well, then she knocked over everything from the pantry. Okay, so my vacuum cleaner smelled really good for a while there because I had to clean up all the spices that she knocked over. So then I put them up on the top shelf where I have so there's like 3 shelves in the coffee where I keep the coffee mugs, but I don't keep any coffee mugs on the top shelf because I can't reach it. So I got my step stool out and I put the treats up there and I closed the door. And all these doors, they have that magnetic closure. Like, it shouldn't be that easy for her to open them. Anyway, next thing I know, I'm hearing crashes and breaks and like shattering of different what I thought was glass. And yeah, it was just her getting up into the coffee mug cupboard and knocking over a bunch of coffee mugs trying to get to the top shelf so she can get the treats, which she also knocked down again. It is published ready now. Yay! Oh, I can't wait to get it. You missed the newsletter chat? I was too involved with Free Comic Book Day. Oh, I missed the newsletter chat too. You put up a video and then spent a week on last edits. Oh, I'm so proud of you, Alex. That's amazing. I was not online much this weekend. So I missed a lot of stuff this weekend. But my power lunches start tomorrow, which I am excited about. Okay. Could you just stop rubbing? It was not the next book and doesn't have a release date. I don't know if I should surprise drop it. I mean, I'm going to say yes, but I'm trying to remember when your next release date is. July, right? Your next scheduled release date is in July, right? Yep, Space Indy 2 on her birthday week. Okay, so what's at the end of this book? What's your call to action? Is it just to join your newsletter? For fiction writers, when is a good time to get a developmental editor? Or is it easier to list when not to hire one? So for a developmental editor, it depends a little bit on, okay, Kat, hi, I love you, but you've got to stop. Hang on 1 second. No, get down. Go that way, okay? You're just knocking stuff. Okay. Alex, depending on your call to action, if you released it now, I don't think anyone is expecting it, obviously, because you haven't promoted it as being a release right now, and it's not part of your normal schedule. So the people who are going to be the most excited are going to be the people on your emails newsletter and the people inside Word, the people on the Discord, so on and so forth. Nothing wrong with that at all. So if you want to surprise them, those will be the people who get surprised. No one else is really going to probably notice at first. But if you wanted to surprise the people on the Discord or the people in Word or your newsletter, great. Otherwise, you could just keep it in your back pocket until another date, because after July, I think your next publication date after July isn't until November, right? Or is it October? No, I think it's November. So you got a good chunk of time in there. 5 people on your newsletter. I know, but I wasn't going to say it out loud, but yeah. October. Okay. All right. So yeah, you got like a few months, so it might be easier to use Space Indie to promote this one rather than using this one to promote Space Indie. That's right. They're back to back. That's why I couldn't remember. October, then November. Nope. You know what? Yeah. Up to you. Because every time I think, oh, you could just publish it after Space Indie, then I'm like, oh, but that's so many books back to back to back to back, which you probably don't want either. Fiction writers, good time to get a developmental editor. So my usual answer for that, Seisha, is as early in the process as you can. Now, that's going to depend on the editor and what kind of editor they are. A lot of developmental editors can and do offer a type of book coaching. So you send them whatever it is that you have up to that point, and they help you develop the rest of the story. They'll help you with outlining, they'll help you with planning certain things, they'll help you with figuring out character arcs, plot arcs, themes, things like that. So if you're not finished with your draft yet, they can help you get it finished. From an editor's point of view, through kind of this like blend of editing, feedback, and coaching. They kind of go back and forth like that. Other developmental editors, they just want you to send them a finished draft, and then they go through and they, make all the structural changes, not changes, but make all the structural recommendations and all the, point out all the weaknesses, and here your plot is real thin, and here there's no character presence, and so on and so forth. And then you go and you revise and on down the line. They don't do as much with the coaching side because you're already done. So they're not trying to do much as far as the direction of your book. The first type, they'll help you actually figure out the direction of your book. The second type, they're helping you revise a book that you've already finished. So it just, as soon as you think to yourself, wow, I really need like an editor to help me work on this, that's when you need to start looking for an editor, and then find one that works with the stage you're in. I am, Dana, totally talking about you. Love the nail color. Thank you. Christopher picked it out. And yeah, Dana, Seisha asked me about, for fiction writers, when should they start looking for a developmental editor? And I think it's as early in the process as you possibly think you need one, which is a vague answer. I get that. But a lot of people don't even realize they don't even feel the need for a developmental editor until they're already done and they have beta readers, and the beta readers are telling them, hey, there's a plot hole, or hey, so this, there's this whole loose end over here that you didn't look at, or hey, why did this character just completely disappear? And then that's when they realize, oh, I need a developmental editor, but they don't feel the need until they're in it. And some people, they just they sit down and they get halfway through the story, and then they're like, I don't know where to go from here. I don't know what I'm doing. I had a premise, I had an idea, but I don't know how to get there. And for those people, getting a developmental editor can really help them push the story along. Some developmental editors are booked months or years in advance. There's that too. There's that aspect too. Absolutely. A lot of times you'll find a developmental editor, you'll find their website, and you're like, oh yes, I'm going to book a consultation. And you're thinking, because of their portfolio and everything else, that this person is going to be perfect. And then you're like 6 months out, and you're like, 6 months. I've known some that are booked out for like 3 years. When I was doing developmental editing, which I don't actually offer anymore, but when I was, it was usually like I would be booked up for my year before January. Like I would open up my spots in December, and then I was for the following year, and then I was booked up for the full year. It can be hard sometimes to find one. So you definitely want to start early in the process if you can. There. Jeez, it took forever. What are they leaving me on voicemail for? Okay. Sometimes a book coach is what you need. Do you coach, Naomi? I forget. Yes. However, I am changing around the way I work for coaching. Okay, so what I used to do for book coaching and writing coaching is what a lot of people do. Basically, you sign up, You pay for so many sessions. It was so much money, right? And then they became a block on my calendar. And over time, those blocks got more and more and more anxiety inducing and burnout worthy. You thought it was your internet. No, it was someone called me and I sent it to voicemail and they left me like the longest voicemail ever. Sorry. Anyway, so I hate the calendar. I hate it. Plus, it's very inflexible. I can't move anything. So, like, when my kids' schedule changes or whatever, I can't do anything. So, I moved to mobile coaching. So, right now, I've got six people on mobile coaching. So, basically, what this is it's held over Voxer, which is a walkie-talkie style of app, but you can send videos, text messages, links, photos, and voice notes in a walkie-style fashion, back and forth. And so now, instead of an hour of going through whatever, it's pick my brain basically Monday through Friday, pretty much all day. Like when you're working on your stuff and you have a question, send me a message. I love it so much more. The only problem so far with it is that they feel like they're taking advantage of me. So they're not sending me any questions, which is why I started Power Lunches, which start tomorrow, partially because I'm hoping that they will feel better about asking me the questions throughout the week if they have something to do, but also because the blogging workshop that I used to do, people keep messaging me and asking me like, I really miss your office hours and I wish you would do your office hours, because back when I was doing the blogging, part of the blogging workshop was blogging office hours. So I thought about it, and so I'm experimenting with Power Lunches, which start tomorrow. I'm going to see how that goes. So yes to the coaching, but I do it differently than other people do their coaching, because I just can't have it on my calendar. I just can't have it on my calendar. Hello, Kylie. Link to the conference in October. Yes, let me. YouTube Studio. I have to send it through this because I can't send it through this. Isn't that silly? Okay. Okay, there I am. Okay, now you're just watching the back of my head. Chat. Here we go. I'm going to put it in the comments too. Can I? Oh no, there's no comments yet. Close that. Okay. Oof. What's your advice on writing mystery novels? So mystery novels, more than anything else, I feel requires Alex is going to shoot me, and it's going to be your fault, Kylie. I'm just saying. No, I'm kidding. But mystery novels, I believe the key to getting a good mystery novel is in the planning, honestly. If you know, the key is understanding where you're getting to, the whodunit, without getting so stuck in the whodunit that you're trapped by it. That's the key. You got to know where you're going, because mystery novels, when you're reading a mystery novel, you need to be able to feel like you're figuring it out. There's always going to be twists, but the twist can't be, hey, this character that has not been part of the book at all came in at the last minute and you found out that they done it. That can't be the twist. You don't write mystery. I know, because I was going to say planning, and you were going to be like, no, that's why I don't write mystery. And whew, shoot me. So a lot of planning goes into that, because a lot of foreshadowing goes into that, a lot of those clues. So, and like, if you think about, and this isn't really so much a mystery, but if you look back at like The Sixth Sense, right? Or that style of movie, when the twist is revealed at the end and you realize what you're actually watching, and then they go through all the flashbacks of all the times you were given the hints, and you're like, oh yeah, that's what happened. And it should feel like you're figuring it out along the way without feeling too predictable. That's what a really good mystery does. On the other hand, you can't get trapped by it. How I Met Your Mother is an example of a story that knew the ending ahead of time, but got themselves trapped by it. So, and if you've ever like talked to me about How I Met Your Mother, you know how much I hated that last season, right? Like, to the point where I can't watch the reruns anymore. I used to watch the reruns constantly, even when it was still on the air, and then you could like watch on TNT the other reruns and then wait for the current show to like pop up. That last season wrecked it. I can't watch any of the reruns because I know where it's headed now, and not in a good way. They spent, because of the way that they were telling the story, and they didn't want the kids to grow up, right? Because they had to have these sessions with the two kids, because he was telling the kids how he met their mother, right? So because of the way that they had that, they filmed the pieces with the kids all at once, all at the beginning. So they already had the ending in mind, which is great. That means you can put in the foreshadowing. That means you can put in the planning that they needed. But then, I don't know, season 3 or 4 or whatever it was. So season 2, Robin, and so that was always going to be the ending. They knew that was the ending because they filmed it in season 1. So they knew that was going to be the ending. But then in season 2, Robin and Ted broke up. And then in season 3 and season 4, they focused on making sure you knew they were broken up. Like, they full on closure. These two do not work together. And then because they already had the ending done, all of a sudden, season 8, season 9, they had to try to undo everything that they did to make the ending work. And it didn't. Why is Yoda in a cup? Because he won't stand up on his own. He's so freaking lazy. No, it's just... when I try to stand him up, like by himself, and like lean up on something, he either covers the cup or he just falls, and then you're just seeing Yoda butt. So you weren't surprised by the plot twist in Sixth Sense, but that's because I was asking too many questions. I connected the thread too early, which is okay. Not every twist is going to hit every person. For that reason, some of the more inquisitive types are probably going to figure it out at some point, because they're going to be like, hey, wait a minute. Like, no, I can't think. But they're going to be like, hey, wait a minute. How come no one else sees him? Oh, he's dead, huh? You know what I mean? Like, it's every once in a while, you're going to figure that out. Fight Club is another one where a lot of people, the twist got them. But you had those people who were like, no one is ever interacting with Tyler or Marla. They're all the same person. Like, and you figure out like, oh, okay, they're all the same person, and he's going through this episode of DID. Oh, okay. Like you like, there's some people who just get it because they're asking all those questions all the way through, and they can't stop themselves from asking the questions. But then the twist really does get the majority of the audience. I love that some TV show creators are now committing to a specific number of episodes, seasons. Integrity of the story holds better. Yeah, with How I Met Your Mother, they got themselves trapped because they knew the ending, but they didn't know how many seasons they had to get there. And so they would have these like backup plans of like, they knew the ending was Robin and Ted, but then they had to have these backup plans. And then, I don't know, they just like, quick, undo all this stuff and shove them together because that's the ending we have. And whatever it was going to be, though, was going to be Robin and Ted. But then it was either, you know, it was what was her name, Stella, right? And if they got canceled, then it was going to be Stella died 6 years ago, and he wanted permission to go back to Robin. And if it was, you know, Victoria, or what was that her name? Hold on, who is the one who did the cake? That was Victoria, right? So if it was Victoria, then Victoria would have died 6 years ago, and he was asking permission to go back to Robin. Like, they had that ending. They got stuck by it. That's probably it. Exactly. Fight Club messed up so many stories. Mr. Robot too. So anyway, when it comes to mysteries, the other thing I advise about for writing a mystery is nothing is too straightforward while you're writing. Use your beta readers to decide if you made too many hints, because too often you have like a whole story in your head, right? And you're trying to write, and then you're like, oh, well, if I put this in there, that makes it too obvious. So you take certain parts back out as you're writing because you don't want something to be too obvious. But then things aren't in the story that you think are in the story, and you can't do much of anything at that point. The reader doesn't get it, and it's because you're too close. So write it all in, get it all in, and then have your alpha readers, your beta readers, your editors, etc., help you figure out which foreshadowing events to remove so that it's not too much. Do I know who is? No, I don't. Sorry. You're from Austria. I am in the United States. Hello, Austria. Good afternoon. I might have to put a mole in one of my stories to make up for all the dead ones. What? Can I take the rain because you can't concentrate? Sure. Rain doesn't bother me. I don't like rain, but it doesn't bother me. As long as there's no thunder, you can send the thunder somewhere else. You like my cup. Thank you. I have it linked. This is one of my new favorites. Have I ever been in Vienna? No, but I would love to see it. It's so pretty when I see it in the pictures. Any advice for a 13-year-old trying to improve her writing? So there's a few different things, a few different pieces of advice that I can repeat for you to improve your writing. A lot of people say the better you want to write, the more you have to read. And there is something about reading that can help you with your writing, because especially depending on the types of books you read, it'll help you recognize certain story elements and why certain ones work. In my opinion, reading itself doesn't make you a better writer. Like the correlation just isn't there. But learning how to read with kind of an editor's eye, learning how to dissect the story and figuring out why certain pieces work the way they do, that can definitely help you. Another thing is writing and feedback will help you get better. I'm not saying you have to hire an editor for every single piece of writing that you have, but even if you're just using something like Pro Writing Aid on every short story for a while, every poem that you, well, maybe not poetry. Poetry is different, but every time you have to write something, get feedback on it. If that means you have a critique partner, great. Send it to them, get their feedback, apply the feedback, understand why they're giving you the feedback that they're giving you, and apply it. If you don't have a critique partner and you can afford to hire an editor for it, great. I don't typically recommend hiring an editor just for the sake of hiring an editor, because we're talking about things that you may or may not ever publish. We're talking about every time you write something that might be a little bit wasteful budget wise. But if you have it to waste, you send them your whatever that story is, they send you the feedback, you learn why they gave you the feedback that they gave you, and you apply it, and that makes you a better writer. And or Grammarly, Hemingway app, Pro Writing Aid, things like that, even they will give you some feedback that you can then go through and apply to your story. And to a lesser extent, there are some paid ChatGPT custom GPTs that I've been experimenting with that provide feedback. Not all encompassing, and the longer a passage that you put into them, what I'm finding is if you put in a very short passage, it'll give you very detailed feedback. If you put in a very long passage, it'll give you much less detail. So there are different ways to get the feedback, but it's applying the feedback that makes you a better writer. all in all. Because like, if you think about it, how many times have you learned a grammar rule or whatever and then forgotten it or whatever, or no one's in your area spoke that way or whatever the case may be, right? So you're just plugging along, writing away, and then all of a sudden you get to that one teacher in class who's like, you know what? You never need to start off a sentence with the words in order. Just start with 2. Don't need the words in order. You don't need it. You don't need it. And then you never forget. You don't need it. And then you just never include it in your words ever again. Or the first time an editor said, hey, 90% of the time you don't need the word that. Just delete it. Just go through and you can delete almost 100% of them. Like something like 95% of the time you can delete the word that and it doesn't change the meaning of the sentence at all. And you go through and you never forget anymore that becomes one of your standard editing steps, is to go through and get rid of that. Things like that. Will I pack for you? Sure. I really like your red hair. Thank you. Since my books won't write and edit themselves, can someone come over and pack for me? Oh, I thought you were... I'm all, yeah! Just now gave me an idea on meshing 2-story ideas on the way back burner. Yay! I love it when merging 2-story premises can be merged into a stronger single story. Same. The muses are overly happy because it's spring. That might be, yeah. I know, Lojo. That's okay. Writing and publishing your book. This was fun, but I've got to go. I had so much fun. Kylie, you're always welcome here. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. I have to at least write out the premise for the idea I have, inspired by my daughter-in-law. I wasted, Seisha. I wasted like, I don't know, I wasted like 7 hours researching and outlining an idea for a book and then going, this would be bad. And like scrapping the entire idea and then feeling like, oh, but it was like 7 hours of good research. There's got to be something that I can use it for, but then not being able to like think of anything else. So I just now have a whole folder on it. I'm planning a story with 4 parts based on a tribute to famous guy. Ooh. But if you add another part to it, I think that'll probably be fine. I mean, it does depend a little bit on what that part is and how, how it helps and continues the stories. But yeah, if it, as many as you need. In my opinion, and this is different for everyone, and I understand that there's like two different kinds of writers, right? There's the kind of writer who like spits out a skeletal story and then they use their editing to add to it, and like they add in all the details and all the descriptions, and they'll revamp and expand on the dialogue and so on and so forth. So I call them underwriters in that way. And then there's the me and other people who are similar to me, where we write everything. We put it all in, and then through our editing phase, we're removing a bunch of stuff. We might still expand on certain sections, but all in all, we'll write 300,000 words to get to 170,000. You know what I mean? Like we throw it all in there, and then when we remove whatever isn't necessary. So depending on how your brain works and which level of writing makes you most comfortable. If you think you need 4 parts, I would go ahead and write in that 5th part. And then in editing, you can be like, you know what? I don't actually need this. It doesn't actually, or whatever. Hello. My friend and I are writing a book, and we have a solid story with nicely planned plot. Nicely planned plot. That's hard to say. But we are having trouble deciding where in the timeline should the story actually start. So, fun fact, I've never started at the beginning of a story. Even when I think I'm starting at the beginning of a story, because that's the outline I put together, I still end up going back and adding something to the beginning to like set something else up or whatever. So, first, while you're writing, just know that beginning doesn't matter in that moment as much as you think it does. You could always turn around and create a stronger hook, create a stronger beginning as you go through the editing phase and so on and so forth. So don't get too hung up on that right now. Just keep writing the story. My favorite parts to a story, or my favorite ways to begin a story, is usually mid-dialogue, mid-action. So it'll be something like, what the hell are you doing? Because they're in the middle of a fight and one person is yelling at the other or something like that. And like, don't use exposition to tell the reader what's going on. Let the reader figure it out. Like they just walked into a room and there's a fight going on and it's going to take them a minute, but they're going to figure this out because, oh, okay, so you stole from, okay, all right. That's my favorite way to jump into a story, is just right in the middle of the chaos in the dialogue. I vastly prefer that. However, not everyone does. So, sometimes, and I do like books that don't do that. It's not to say that if the book doesn't have that kind of a beginning that I'm going to hate that kind of a book, whatever that book is, because that's not true either. There are plenty of books that I love that don't start that way. And it does depend a little bit on the genre of book, obviously. But you can start with descriptions. You can start with, it's been 30 years and she's still never going to see justice for the thing that happened to her, and like just a little bit of a hook with a little bit of a mystery that the reader has to figure out. Where's my sniper? Romancing the Beat is a good... oh, yeah, Romancing the Beat is really good. Like Naomi said, where to start the novel often reveals itself when you are writing or after you have even finished the entire manuscript. Yep, true. Barbara, new to your channel. Hello. Uma, hi. Hi. You're so focus on the chat. Don't even worry about it. You're fine, Seisha. Bye. Okay. Have a great day. Hopefully I answered your question. Jessica is missing. It's okay. It's fine. Thankfully, it's nothing we haven't been able to handle yet. So I'm knocking on wood. I know. Oh no! Did they get her? Well, it's just as well as because I gotta go. You knocked one out. Nice. I do have to run. Okay, so yes, I have to go. Not gonna lie, so used to her being here, I wasn't paying attention. You're fine, Sarah. I was not mad at anyone else and being like, hey, come on. She's carrying the team. No, everything's fine. I think that the chat was just doing its thing. We were all just into the chat, like into the conversation and not so much into the chat or who was going in. It's fine. It's good. It's all good. Those are the best conversations anyway, because like the trolls don't really have much. I prefer that because they're not disrupting everything. You know what I mean? Like I'm still just talking along and like people can just ask their questions and the trolls get no rise out of anybody because we all missed them. Those are my favorites anyway, so we're good. Anyway, I do have to run. Today and tomorrow is going to be, hopefully things slow down soon, man, because I'm burning out. But anyway, you identify as a troll. All right. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for hanging out with me this morning. I hope that you found it helpful. I really enjoy these Q&As. Sprints are going to start in the Discord probably in a few minutes. Yeah, go get all the words written and have an amazing day. Okay? Bye.